Whether you're here with us in person or joining us around the world, we are so thrilled to be with you this week. My name's Jeff Teper, and I lead the teams focused on collaboration in Microsoft 365. And the team and I could not be more excited to be here to share with you our vision for the future of content management transformed by AI with SharePoint Premium. You know, one of the things that's a privilege about my job is I get to talk to organizations around the world. And a common theme they tell me is content is the lifeblood of their organizations. It's how great teams come together and build products and services that delight their customers. It's how they transform their processes to be more agile and to lower costs. And perhaps more importantly, it's how they harness their knowledge to make better decisions and help every employee learn and grow. But the foundation of all this is a robust fabric where they must govern their content to have a single version of the truth, have sophisticated security and policies, and compliance capabilities to meet a growing set of internal and external requirements. And I think you all know at this point, the shift to the cloud has been incredibly transformative for content collaboration. Employees get access to the latest software anytime, any device with the richest security and at lower costs. But as big as that transformation was with the shift of content management to the cloud, AI is going to be even bigger because AI gets to the core problem of unlocking content to make it more valuable to the organization and to transforming the production and use and discovery of content to automate business processes in a way that was never possible before. And of course, our offering this week that we've been amplifying with AI is Copilot. I hope you're as excited as I am about what Satya and others shared yesterday, where from the silicon to Azure OpenAI, to the Microsoft Graph, to the experiences in Microsoft 365, Copilot is transforming how we build products and how we deliver to you a much more valuable solution than ever before. You know, I've been at Microsoft for quite a while, and I have never seen a product in its first release have the impact that Copilot's had. It's only been 2 weeks since the general availability of Copilot in Microsoft 365, and already 70% of users are telling us they couldn't live without it. It is still early, as Satya and Jared and Rajesh shared. We are just getting started. We have a lot of things that are coming. We're very excited about all the things we're announcing this week. But in this session, I really wanted to focus on the underlying capabilities of content management. AI, in order to actually work up to its full potential, needs great content management. It needs to be organized, it needs to be enriched. In order for AI to come up with relevant conversations with you, it needs to be governed in order for AI to make sure that no user sees information they don't have access to. And it needs to be automated so you can truly make this leap from manual business process creation to automated workflows, some of which we'll show you here today. So more than ever before, every organization needs a great content management solution. And not surprisingly, our solution at Microsoft is SharePoint. SharePoint's the most flexible content management platform, supporting real-time co-authoring in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, supporting creating great sites with SharePoint and how it integrates with Viva, how people organize information of a variety of types with OneDrive, and the capabilities integrated with lists and teams and so forth. And we're particularly excited that SharePoint, even though it's been around for a while, continues to evolve and power brand new experiences. Just this week, we announced the GA of Microsoft Loop, where the native data structures are empowered by underlying architecture in SharePoint. And we showed some great work in video between Stream and Clipchamp, which are now powered by SharePoint. But it's not just these first-party experiences. SharePoint has the best ecosystem in technology, supporting hundreds of new content types, not just the Microsoft file formats, integrating with thousands and tens of thousands of applications through our Microsoft Graph API, our SharePoint Framework user experience customization, and SharePoint's best friend, the Power Platform, for creating workflow solutions transcending content in various applications. But third, perhaps the biggest catalyst to the shift to the cloud with content management in SharePoint is unparalleled security and compliance, from multi-geo tenants to auditing to e-discovery to classification, labeling, and protection to conditional access policies to information barriers and much more. This has enabled every organization to send their most secure content to the cloud. So these three combined, our first-party experiences, our third-party platform, and information governance capabilities, have made SharePoint the leading content management platform in the market. Over 300 million monthly active users for the experiences powered by SharePoint, and those users are growing their intensity of creating content that's more and more valuable in that. In fact, we've now passed 2.3 billion new documents that are added to SharePoint every single day. So that's incredible. We are not done. We feel like we're just barely getting started with this journey. And so I wanted to reinforce, before we dive into the new things, the SharePoint Premium capabilities, that a majority of the team that is bigger than ever in the SharePoint team, first and foremost, we're focused on fundamentals: security, compliance, performance, reliability, accessibility, and much more. And most importantly, simplicity. The hallmark of SharePoint is that it's powerful and simple. But we are just getting started with that journey, and I thought before we dive into SharePoint Premium that I'd show some of the new experiences that we're building. First, you all asked us to simplify file management and sharing in Microsoft 365. So last month, in October, we held an event to celebrate the GA of the biggest leap forward in the file experience in our history. OneDrive is stepping up with the OneDrive experience to do two things. First, give you access to all your content in SharePoint sites, in Teams sites, and more, in Microsoft Teams and more. Second is that experience is consistent. It's not just available in OneDrive and SharePoint, of course. It's coming to Teams in just the next few weeks, that same experience. It's coming to Outlook with Monarch, and next year it'll be coming to the Microsoft 365 Hub experience. So a simple, consistent experience for all your content through all our experiences, and I thought I'd take a quick view of what the new OneDrive looks like. All right. Well, in addition to the files experience, we are improving the site experience. You know, we're proud that SharePoint's always made it easy to create everything from the most ad hoc team site to the most sophisticated enterprise portal. In fact, millions and millions of new SharePoint sites are created each and every month. But about a year ago, we said, let's take the next leap in user experience. And so I thought we'd show a quick video of what you'll be able to do with the new SharePoint UI. And if we could roll that now. These are some of the kinds of sites you're going to be able to create. We've got richer layouts, integrating media, video, flexible branding, custom fonts, the ability to co-author these sites with people, the ability to communicate through SharePoint that goes through Viva Engage and Teams, and even email. One of my favorite features we're working on that you can try out is the ability to read a SharePoint page in the body of an email. And so all these new layouts that are coming, all these new capabilities will make it even easier to create more engaging content, to accomplish whatever you're trying to do with SharePoint, run a project, or transform the culture of your organization. So we'll be rolling this out in stages in the next few months, and we're excited, very excited to keep you posted on that. All right, now that we've laid the foundation with an even simpler and more flexible experience for files and pages, let's talk about what we're doing next with Content AI. Last year, at this event, we talked about the first set of services that we were introducing to connect to SharePoint to leverage AI. And we did that under the brand of Microsoft Syntex. And we've had great adoption of Syntex over the last year. We've released some services, some are still in preview that people are trying out. We've gotten great feedback. But, I love my colleague Jared Spataro's comments yesterday about Copilot. Occasionally, we have a great experience, but maybe we could go back and streamline the branding a little bit. And so people love the concept. They weren't sure about the connections between Syntex and SharePoint. So we decided to simplify all that and rename Syntex to SharePoint Premium. SharePoint, the base content management collaboration platform for Microsoft 365. SharePoint Premium, a value-added set of services on top. And they're going to come in 3 categories. First, experiences that are enriched by AI and other capabilities for using your content in high-value experiences for your organization. Second, we're going to apply AI to workflows and processes in bulk to help transform and enrich that content for greater consistency, workflow automation, less drudgery and manual tagging and things like that, that we think is going to save people a bunch of time and money. And then third, governance capabilities, advanced controls of your content, addressing some of the top feedback and questions we've got over the base capabilities we already offer today. Combined, they're going to make SharePoint Premium the best way to manage, ground, and leverage content for AI in the era of copilots. So we're pretty excited about this moment, and we thought we'd roll a video to celebrate the launch of SharePoint Premium. Let's take a look.
In the era of AI, the secret to getting ahead with your business is something you already have: content. Now, with SharePoint Premium, you can unleash the full potential of your AI-powered Microsoft 365 Copilot experiences. Boost productivity, keep content fresh, enable discovery, and support file collaboration. Optimize content value using AI-driven automation. And use powerful tools to manage the content lifecycle and control access. SharePoint Premium, where AI meets content management.
All right, let's take a look. Enough framing into the demos. So we're going to go through each of these areas with a set of demos, and I am very excited for the first section that for content experiences, we're going to bring up Sesha Mani to take you through that. Sesha?
All right. Thank you, Jeff. For audience in person and online, today, on behalf of the team, I am super excited to share with you the power of SharePoint Premium in action. Starting with content experiences, I'll show you what are the next level of innovations coming, both in content experiences and content solutions. And for that, let's walk through a canonical scenario end to end. Contoso Outdoors, let's imagine they are the sporting goods company. How SharePoint Premium empowers them to get ready for a summer launch and bringing a new supplier, Fabricam, under a contract. Let's start with AI-driven, high-value content creation experience. In the next 7 minutes, I want to redefine, transform the high-value document experience for you. In this AI era, intelligence is infused in every corner of the business processes. We believe we can reduce the barriers and boost users' productivity to a whole new level when it comes to high-value documents. Let's take Colin, who is the procurement team in Contoso. He's part of procurement team in Contoso, and he deals with supplier relationships. He needs a centralized review of all his supplier documents and ability to create a net new contract in a simple and seamless fashion. SharePoint Premium empowers him to achieve just that. Let's take a look in action. Allow me to introduce a new app for all things high-value documents, Agreements app right within Microsoft Teams. Colin gets a panoramic view of all high-value documents he works with right here in this experience. Not only that, actionable insights like timely alerts when a given contract is about to expire. He sees this nice view across all the high-value documents such as NDAs, SLAs, legal documents, invoices, you name it, all in one simple experience. To create a contract with Fabricam, he needs to create first a statement of work agreement, and he can do that right here in this experience. Selecting the statement of work template opens up in Word, and he can select the company name and the supplier name, and voila, all the rest of the fields will automatically get filled in thanks to the power of AI. Based on his discussion with Fabricam, he needs to make a small adjustment to the obligation clause, and he makes it right here. Now, within a minute, the document is now ready to send it out for internal review, which is to his content owner, Mona. Now, Mona is going to receive an email notification, and statement of work agreement is ready for her review. And she can actually click on the view document experience right here, and the document is going to open up in the Agreements app in Teams. There is one insight right here for Mona that says, hey, there is one area in the agreement, you should take a look at it. Thanks to the AI-driven clause and deviation analysis, it immediately detected there is a deviation in obligation clause compared to the Contoso's standard template. She reviews the change. She seems it's fine, so she goes ahead and approves the agreement. Now that the document is approved, the next step is e-signature. So Colin chooses SharePoint e-signature to trigger the e-signature flow. Yes, you heard it right. SharePoint e-signature, the native e-signature experience right within Microsoft 365. Colin chooses the e-signatories, himself for Contoso and Carlos for Fabricam, and then sends out the document for e-signature. On the Carlos side, at Fabricam, he's going to receive an email notification that a statement of work agreement is ready for his review and e-signature. Let's take a look. Here, he gets an email notification. He can click on the view request, open the document. He checks the clause updates, and he's now ready to e-sign the document. Now, all these experience right within his browser experience. No additional client add-ons are required. Also, throughout this end-to-end process, this document is stored and protected within secure and compliant boundary of Microsoft 365. One additional note, for e-signature provider experience, not only SharePoint e-signature, users can choose DocuSign and Adobe Acrobat Sign as well. Thank you to our great partnership with DocuSign and Adobe. We have integrated SharePoint Premium's end-to-end security document workflows with their eSign products, bringing comprehensive, durable values to our collective customers. So there you have it. Seamless, AI-driven, high-value content creation experience infused into the flow of work and intuitive to use, and more importantly, boosts users' productivity to a whole new level. We are not stopping there. Colin also deals with intake contracts. These are documents that Contoso Outdoors receives from their suppliers and vendors. Bulk operation of these intake contracts is super time sensitive. And also, these need to be analyzed against the Contoso's rules playbook and the clause library as well. Manual processing takes months and weeks to complete. We are redefining this process. Today, we are thrilled to introduce AI-driven analysis for high-value documents in bulk. With this, the AI is grounded with your organization's rules playbook and clause library in a secure fashion such that it can analyze thousands, even millions of contracts in a matter of hours and distill down to the specific contracts that require your attention. Let's see it in action. So Colin receives bulk intake contracts from his suppliers. He turns to Agreements app and then uploads all those bulk contracts to the application. Behind the scene, it got analyzed, and it detected 3 of those contracts that has risks. Thanks to the AI-driven rules analysis, it's able to point out what are the risks in the specific contract. For example, here the NDA agreement contract is missing a clause to protect residuals. That's how quickly Colin now get done with his intake contract analysis in minutes, what used to take him weeks and months to complete. Now, this shows you the essence of the true power of AI, improving the user's efficiency, transforming the mundane processes like intake contract analysis. We are not stopping here. Now, you may wonder, as a retailer, Contoso Outdoors should have external customers and partners. And how are they going to collaborate on high-value document with those customers? And most of the time, these customers have consumer accounts, right? Yes, Contoso, I'm sure most of you have the exact same need. Especially for Contoso case, they actually want to keep these customer-centric high-value documents isolated and secured from their corporate employees' high-value documents so that there is no accidental leakage happens as well. SharePoint Premium helps them achieve that too. Today, we are thrilled to introduce Documents Hub, a single place to collaborate with your external customers and partners on high-value documents, even if they have consumer accounts, in a secure and seamless fashion. For example, Henry Brill is a customer of Contoso Outdoors. He plans to purchase prescription sunglasses from Contoso this month. He has a consumer account with gmail.com. Now, let's see his experience in action. Henry signs in with his consumer account to Documents Hub, a single place tailored for and branded with Contoso Outdoors. He can upload securely the prescription order form right here. He can control all the documents that he owns, nothing less, nothing more. And behind the scene, the Contoso care team can see all the customers and the high-value documents that they uploaded, and also can take actions on them, either approve them, or initiate e-signature, or perhaps fulfill their order as well. Now, all this while not interfering with Contoso's corporate high-value documents and processes, and no friction for customers. They can continue to use whatever consumer accounts that they have. So there you have it. This is the whirlwind tour of all the capabilities in content experiences in SharePoint Premium. All these demos illustrate how SharePoint Premium empowers users like Colin, Carlos, and Henry throughout the life cycle of the high-value document. Make it much more easier. They can do it in minutes, what used to take days, weeks, and months to complete. We have truly transformed the high-value document experience for you. I hope you all are as excited as we are with these capabilities. With that, thank you for your time. Back to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Sesha. Yeah, we've been in the space of these collaborative content experiences for a while, but I'm incredibly excited that we're now stepping up to these high-value workflows, because I think, as you all know, every organization has processes like that that are expensive, that are slow, and that are cumbersome, and we're excited to help you solve them with greater accuracy, faster performance, and all at lower cost as well. But let's go forward to the second pillar. So next we're going to talk about how AI can help in bulk enriching and processing content, and how that will unlock all sorts of knowledge capabilities, workflows, and much more. And so for that, I am very excited to bring up Kristen. Thanks.
Thank you. So while sunglasses are the premier category for Contoso Outdoors for the summer launch, they're actually also going to be launching many other products across a variety of categories like camping gear, water sports, apparel. All the documentation related to each product is available in SharePoint. Daisy Phillips from Contoso Outdoors is responsible for curating the portfolio of products to be featured for the summer launch. Her challenge is not only the sheer volume of content, but also the product information sheets come in a variety of file formats with varying details from each supplier. How will Daisy not only make sense of this content, but also make business-critical decisions based on it? As a start, she'll use SharePoint Premium autofill columns to gain insights from the documents. She'll create a readiness column. She'll prompt the AI that the feature that she's looking for, or the product that she's looking for, should be lightweight, waterproof, and bright colors. If all of these criteria are met, mark the information sheet as ready. If only 2 of the criteria are met, mark it as review. And if none of the criteria are met, mark it as not ready. All of the feature will analyze all of the documents and then populate that metadata for each one. Daisy will again use this feature, but this time she'll create a details column, and she'll prompt the feature to give an explanation for why the product information sheet was categorized as ready or not ready. For example, no bright colors. So here, Daisy can look across the library and just scan the information rather than what she would have had to do otherwise, which is pore over those documents, opening each one and trying to find those details. Okay, so Daisy remembers that it's also important to her that she features a product from each of the different departments of Contoso Outdoors. So she uses taxonomy tagging, and she points to her company-managed term set for products, and she wants to assign the product tag to those documents where the products are mentioned. So she goes ahead and does that. But now she really wants to zero in on the products that she's going to feature for the launch. So she uses SharePoint Premium Content Query to do this. She creates a query that she's interested in a product from the water sports category that's ready, and that's between $100 and $500. She executes the query, and she sees the results. Because she used her company-managed term set in SharePoint, she was able to query by the category, water sports, and products within that, like dive suit or surfboard, were returned. That surfboard information sheet looks really interesting, and she wants to read more. She opens it up. Inside, she sees a link to a stream video with more details and a product demo. So she's going to watch that. When she pulls it up, she realizes this video is in French, and she doesn't speak French. So luckily, she can use the SharePoint Premium Translate feature to convert the transcript to her desired language, and she can even toggle the caption so she can watch it that way. Okay, she loves this surfboard, and she's definitely going to use it for the launch. She goes back to the product information sheet, and she circles the sizes and colors that she'll use, and even puts in some additional notes about how many that she'll need for the display. Through So now she's feeling really good about the launch, and she's ready to write her launch proposal. Others in the organization have been hearing about this, and they were curious to learn more about this super secret launch proposal as well. So they asked Microsoft 365 Copilot for more details. However, SharePoint Premium has automatically classified that launch proposal and applied a highly confidential sensitivity label to it, which keeps the document secure and prevents it from showing in their results. Through these demos, you can see how content processing in SharePoint Premium can help accelerate your productivity, maximize the value of your content with AI-driven automation and security. Back to you, Jeff.
Oh, thanks, Kristen. So we're super excited about AI, not just answering questions one by one interactively, but having these bulk content processing services there to do things that, as Kristen said, would take us days or weeks and would be error prone. Last area we're going to cover is governance. This is incredibly important. The number one thing that people have asked me about since we first announced Copilot in March is, how do I get my content ready to be used by Copilot, to make sure the right people see access to the right content, documents, answers powered by content? We have a robust solution for that in SharePoint, and with SharePoint Premium, we're going to give you more insights and controls on that than ever before. And so to show you that, I'm very excited to bring up Chris McNulty. Chris.
Thanks, Jeff. It is great to be here with all of you at Microsoft Ignite, those of you here in the room, as well as those of you joining us again around the world online. So governing your content, having trusted content, is essential for success with not just Copilot, but also with the collaboration and the business processes that we are looking at today. Understanding that we need to make sure that we are controlling and shaping the permissions we have on our content, finding the content that's relevant and the content that's becoming obsolete, and making sure we're protecting it throughout its life cycle. So in the examples we've been looking at before with Contoso, we looked a lot at contracts. Now, contracts typically contain lots of sensitive business and financial information. Each contract may have distinct stakeholders, so there's a risk of sensitive content being accidentally overshared with that. Let's take a look at how we can prevent those risks, starting with data access governance. Roll it. So data access governance allows me to build policies and understand what's going on across my organization. Here, I'm building a report to look for content that's at risk of being overshared because it's using the everyone except external users group. I can filter by type of site, I can set the other parameters, and in a short time, I have a report that I'm ready to work with. I can even filter this view looking at the high-value document sites that were set up in my organization. Now, governance is very much a team sport. The folks who own this content are the most likely ones to know exactly what the permissions should be. So I'm going to initiate a site access review to reach out to those site owners to help them get a report of what is potentially at risk on their site. When the site owner receives the report, they can click through, take a look at the files, and make a determination about whether those policies should or should not be shared. And once they finish that review, they can attest back to IT that they've finished the review, so we know that that site has already been taken care of. Thanks, feel free. Now, in addition, I can deploy restricted access control policies, because I may know, in this case, across the finance organization, that only the finance group should have access to those files. So a restricted access control policy on those high-value sites allows me to limit it to make sure that just the finance group is going to have access to content there without potentially oversharing that information. And now, let's take a look at how AI can help us make sense of that information. So here, I'm using AI insights to be able to drive an analysis of what's going on inside of this report. I can understand what information is coming from certain types of sites or different parts of my organization, helping spotlight the trends so that I can address those with policy, with training, all the rest of the guidance that I can give to my organization to help me do more. And now, let's take a look at how AI takes this even further with Copilot. So here, I'm inside of the Admin Center, and I'm going to invoke Copilot. Now, let's suppose I'm a relatively new admin. Copilot can take me through the process of helping me find overshared information in my organization, what reports are out there and available to me, and let me know how I can then structure that with the right data access governance and restricted access control policies. This is just a taste of what we're going to be able to do using Copilot to help admins as well as information workers throughout the organization. So there is still a lot of governance across the organization. AI can also help me figure out what's happening and help me make recommendations. AI can also help me find inactive sites. So when we're looking at the whole data lifecycle, let's take a look at what's available to us. So here, I'm able to use AI-powered recommendations to help me build a report looking at problems in the legal area. I know that I have a benchmark set of sites that are properly classified with the right sharing permission. I can take that as a baseline, and then I can additionally ask the report to go out and take a look throughout my organization to use AI to match sites with similar content that may not have the same structure and permissions. So I determine the scopes, the report will run, and it will come up. And once that report is there and ready, I can bring up a report and examine, taking a look at the hundreds of sites that I've been able to examine and be able to understand of the 342 sites, there is plenty of work for us to do to help make sure that the permissions across that wild range of sites matches the known good sites that we have. Additionally, we can also use AI to help me find sites that are obsolete or at risk of going inactive. Let's see that in action. So here, I can understand which sites have either become obsolete or inactive, looking at all the activities across not just the site, but all of the group-connected things that may be going on there. We're going to build a policy to look for sites that have been created from the SharePoint homepage, looking for sites that are marked as public. I can refine further, but I'm, again, going to trust my site owners. I'm going to ask them to review the site, and I can determine what happens if they don't respond. In this case, we're going to say the site should be automatically set for archived. So we run the report, and once that report is built, our site owners, AI is going to be able to allow me to understand what they should be seeing. We can, again, use AI to understand the trends of which sites in the organization are most likely to go inactive, based on the kind of site they are or the parts of the organization. Site owners are going to receive an email that allows them to review the site and say, yes, I need to keep it, or no, it's okay to archive it or delete it. Again, helping me review which sites are out there and available for me for information that I might need to be able to use in our next product area. So we spent a little bit of time looking at how I can use SharePoint Premium to govern my content, keep information fresh for search index and for collaboration. Now, we also have a related set of Microsoft 365 products as part of our content management solutions to help protect information throughout its full life cycle. And that is where Microsoft 365 Archive comes in handy. Now, content can grow, and historically, costs can grow. But that may not be the case when we use M365 Archive. M365 Archive lets me move sites that are approaching end of life to an environment that still lives inside your trust boundary with full fidelity. All the information is kept intact. There are multiply redundant copies. We respect the geo-boundaries. Security and compliance and administrative access for things like e-discovery and retention are all still available. So let's take a look. So here I'm reviewing, and I'm going to actively make a decision as an IT owner that there's a site that I want to move to archive. And as soon as I say this should go to archive, it moves there instantly. That full set of rich metadata and security is all still available to me, but we will remove the site from user access to make sure that it stays preserved. That way information is protected, and if I ever need to bring it back, I can do that very easily. One of the things that we're also announcing this week is Microsoft 365 Archive is starting public preview today. So you can start to take the advantages of this in your environment with no additional steps required other than configuration. Now, protecting information across a broad life cycle means looking, in some cases, beyond SharePoint, beyond OneDrive, into the rest of Microsoft 365. It's more important than ever to make sure that our content is being protected from malicious actions or ransomware. And as data volumes have grown from megabytes to petabytes and beyond, traditional approaches of copying large volumes of files over a wire and bringing them back in the event of a recovery need just take too long. That's why we've taken a new approach to how Microsoft 365 Backup is going to work. Here, I'm going to build a new scope to help me protect some of my sites that live in M365. And I can decide which sites, how recently they should be modified. I can search those criteria and specify exactly what I want. What will happen is we'll be taking high-speed snapshots that live inside the M365 tenancy, so they will be available to me for recovery quickly. I can review the policy that's been set up there, and now my information has been protected. Okay, let's assume there's been some sort of adverse event, like ransomware. I can decide which sites I want to restore. I can browse what's been available historically. And once I make those selections of where I want to bring information back, I can quickly decide the master set that's going to be restored, and then browse through the backup sets that I have available. I can find the right restore point to go to a known good location. If there are other backup sets that should be configured, I can do that. And I can decide whether to bring that back to a new site or back to the original location. And once that's been set up, that restore is going to be executed against those immutable backups, and I will be back up and running faster than ever before. More than 20 times faster than traditional approaches for moving that information out across the wire and then back in. Yeah, that's great. But there's more than that. So with Microsoft 365 Backup, that storage architecture, we're extending it to our partners. Now, Microsoft 365 Backup is coming to public preview this month. But these partners, AvePoint, Cohesity, Commvault, Rubrik, Veeam, and Veritas are working with us to build our backup storage architecture into their applications. So their broad enterprise data protection suites are going to be able to bring the speed benefits to protect Microsoft 365 alongside their support for non-Microsoft 365 targets. So as you've seen, there's a broad range of tools to help make sure information is trusted and protected. Data access governance, restricted access control, M365 Archive, and Backup. So that's it for content governance. We're going to bring Jeff back up to talk about how our customers are successful and how can you start being successful with SharePoint Premium.
Thank you, Chris. And what we thought we'd do at this point is show the words of a customer, one of our largest enterprise customers, in their early work with SharePoint Premium. Let's take a look.
KPMG is a multidisciplinary professional services firm supporting our clients with audit, consulting, deals, and tax advice. In my particular area of the business, in tax, we regard our business as being about three things: clients, people, and content. We want to eliminate as much as possible of the manual processing and research tasks, and that's why AI document automation is absolutely critical in freeing our people up to provide that advisory skill. With the content that we generate within KPMG, applying metadata and enriching that content to enable it to be navigable by our users, but also by AI, has historically been a massive challenge for us. SharePoint Premium is enabling us to automate that process, which really allows us to get the most out of our content and the most out of the power of generative AI. The average tax professional is drowning in different sources of information and a huge wealth of content that they could use to rely on in their work. Viva Topics and Power Automate are helping us to build a content pipeline that means without any proactivity required on the part of our users, we can serve them the right content at the right time with the right metadata to make it useful for the specific client problem they're trying to solve. We're going to be having Microsoft technology through the entirety of our business cycle. So it's not exaggerating to say that Microsoft will be foundational to everything we do as tax professionals at KPMG.